Hello, Oracles. Well, we've got Project Highland rumors coming for Shanghai. We've got hardware 4 information coming out, and we've got Berlin that is now producing 4680 batteries. Lots to go over this morning, lots of great news that we got last night, and we will get into all of that in just a minute. All right, first we're going to take a look at the charts and pre-market at the time of this recording. We are breaching $217. Now we've been discussing how that $214 level is a tough level of resistance. However, if we are looking above us, this $221 to $222 level here actually was a very strong support on the way down. So this here could be the level that we end up making it up to. Now, if any of you are familiar with Gort over on Twitter, it is the Lines of Gort, and he is here sharing some of what he sees. Looks like he's potentially seeing a run going into Investor Day on these numbers, so we could push that $222 level. Don't know if we're going to break that or not, but if we get to that level and all of the buyers are exhausted, there is again a lot of bearish sentiment in the macro environment that could end up pulling the stock price down. So there's a good chance that, this 217 could push higher up to that $222 level ahead of Investor Day. So now to get into those rumors that we were hearing about Giga Shanghai and Project Highland and this maintenance that they're going down for, we've got Wang next door coming out here translating part of Giga Shanghai production line will be halted until month end pending the Model 3 Highland upgrade to get ready for the production of the refreshed model by Q3 this year. Now, this is right in line with the rumors that we had heard previously. Back in December, we had heard that this Project Highland was coming out, and Shanghai was slated to get this in Q3 of this year. So, having the line go down now for maintenance to get ready for Q3, not quite sure. I don't know if it's because they've got to do some tooling and different things to get ready. Maybe it's a much bigger project than we think it is. So I have a feeling we'll hear more about this when we get to Investor Day, but it could be something that, hey, they're doing the maintenance on it now. So when we get to Investor Day, they can say, we are now ready to be able to do this come Q3. Now, we heard about things like this going on over in Fremont as well. We don't have as much information about that, but Project Highland is coming. Now, the big question is Project Highland going to be the Gen 3 platform, or is it going to be something entirely different? In that aspect, we only have rumors to go on, but we do have some other information about Hardware 4 coming. So is Hardware 4 going to be included in this Project Highland? And now we've also got Wang next door sharing these Hardware 4 updates. So Hardware 4.0, lower, top, and left versus 3.0. 12 camera interfaces with one backup, 7 for autopilot, 20 ARM Core CPUs with 2.35 gigahertz, new GPS module, new Phoenix HD radar with 100 megabyte Ethernet, complete symmetric design for redundancy, combined CPU and GPU for infotainment, power consumption doubled. So now, if you recall some rumors that we had again back at the end of last year, talking about HD radar coming into Hardware 4. Of course, Tesla Q jumped all over that, saying Elon said radar wasn't necessary, and now they're putting it back in. FSD must be failing. But then you have to go all the way back to the middle of last year, where Elon said if there was high definition radar that was good enough, then it would be worth putting it in the vehicles. But at that time, they did not have that. So now they have this, and it sounds like they may be reintroducing this into Hardware 4. So I don't know how this all plays out with FSD. Again, this may be something we learn at Investor Day, but this is something that is going to be taking us to that next level. So then going back to Project Highland, we know that Elon said that the Cybertruck will have Hardware 4. If the Cybertruck is going into production sometime at the end of Q2, beginning of Q3, not getting to volume until next year, but if they start production on the Cybertruck this year, that means that Hardware 4 has to be ready to go in. If it's going to be ready to go in, they might just be putting it in all of their vehicles. So perhaps it's going to be going into that Model 3. Now, as was also pointed out to me by Gort, perhaps this is one of the reasons that we saw those Model 3s with covers over them. Because when you're looking at the different hardware, there's different cameras and sensors in different places, and you can see the differences. So Tesla wanted to make sure that they had those covered up so that nobody could see them. because we know you guys here in the community are extremely observant on little things like that. You pay attention to the details, and you would find that out. Elon knows this, Tesla knows this, so they made sure to cover all of this up. So we will see what happens in the future, but it sounds like we are going to be getting hardware 4, and it might be going into Project Highland for the Model 3s. And then in some other news tweeted out by Tesla owners Silicon Valley from Torque News, breaking news, Tesla's Giga Berlin 4680 battery plant is up and running from ground prep to cell production in just a year. Brandenburg Economics Minister Jörg Steinbach confirms the news. And so, of course, this is great to see because we know that the 4680 is going to be the next big piece for Tesla going forward. These batteries are going to be much more efficient. And again, as Elon said, it's going to take several years for them to get to that point. So we might not see the full effects of what these batteries can do for the company and the bottom line and all of their vehicles until 2025 or 2026. But having Berlin up and running on this right now is great news. And the fact that they were able to do this in a year, knowing all of the red tape and madness they've had to deal with for all sorts of production and building that factory over there as well, it's awesome to see that they've actually gotten it to this point this quickly. To follow up on the news that we heard coming out of New York and a few of the employees over there wanting to unionize, we've got Sawyer Merritt tweeting out an article from Bloomberg News. Tesla fired dozens of employees Wednesday at its plant in Buffalo, New York, one day after autopilot workers at the facility announced a union campaign. So now my thoughts on this are the fact that, Tesla can't just fire people because they want to unionize. You just can't do that. But if they're at a point right now where we've spoken about it before on the autopilot team, Tesla has been laying people off from the autopilot team as their auto labeler starts to get better and better. They don't need as many humans doing the work because the auto labeler can do that themselves. Whether that's the situation here or not, or if there's something else that's going on where they violated company policy, there's no actual specific information on that as of yet. If you guys know that, please share. But it's whatever it is, they couldn't just fire them because they wanted to unionize. But one of the things to remember about unions is they do have a place in this world, especially when it comes to if you're working in an area that's, not friendly to the employee, you want something that's going to help you there. That's why unions were created in the first place. But as time went on and laws were created to protect the worker, unions didn't really have as much of a place and have now become a business themselves. So, how do businesses grow? Well, they have to go out there and think of new ways to be able to expand their business. And in some cases, they will plant people inside of factories that sound like could be places to be unionized. We obviously know the United Auto Workers Union is massive. And if they start putting people inside of these places of other factories, like Tesla, we've heard about it going on in Amazon warehouses as well. You put that in there, you just plant that seed, and all you need is one person to make that turn and convince a few unhappy employees within that factory to say, hey, you know what? Things aren't fair here. And it's sort of like a cancer in some cases. Now, again, if you guys are in a union and things are going well for you, I don't have anything against unions per se. But in some scenarios, which this could be the case, when you have an employer who does take care of their employees very well, then you end up seeing something like this cancer type thing taking place. That's the thing I want to pay attention to. I'm not saying that this is the scenario. I don't work for Tesla, but reading all of the information between how Tesla treats and pays their employees versus how GM and Legacy Auto pays and treats their employees, and Legacy Auto is unionized, and the fact that from what I have heard, Tesla does a better job than the UAW does, leads me to believe that Tesla does not need to unionize to take care of their employees because they do a better job of it. Now, again, that's just the information I have. And obviously, there are going to be one off scenarios everywhere that you go. No matter where you go, not every single employee is going to be happy. So, if you find those employees that are not happy, you in turn can start to build that cancer and spread it quickly throughout the entire factory. Some unhappy workers start making other people unhappy. Maybe these auto labelers saw the writing on the wall that they were not going to be needed anymore. They wanted to start a union to protect their jobs. That's just my own speculation. I truly don't know. But at least right now, we know that these New York employees have been fired. And now there will probably end up being some ensuing lawsuits about the fact that they were terminated, and unions are going to come out and fight for them. We'll see how this all plays out. But as of right now, those employees are no longer there. And one last thing to go over today, we've got a new 13F filing from French investment bank Natixis reported it bought a massive $19 billion worth of Tesla in Q4, which is a 6% stake. And as Tesla Bull here says, all those dark pools now make sense. And so this goes back to what we were talking with Alexandra about, which is now that we have the upgrade to investment grade for credit, we will see a lot more institutions starting to put money in. So obviously, we saw some great pricing on the stock back at the end of the year. And so these big institutions were coming in and buying. So this is another reason why when Elon came out and said that Moody's is irrelevant, look, institutions are buying in and they're buying in significantly. So now is this going to be jumped up even more when Moody's gives their upgrade? I don't know. I have a feeling, yes. I have a feeling if they're going to have a split rating for a longer period of time, it may affect it. But if we are going to be seeing an uncertain market for the rest of the year, there could be several buying opportunities each quarter that we go through. If that is the case, when Moody's does do their upgrade, we could be seeing more institutional buying coming in bigger dollar cost averaging type chunks at the end of these quarters. And now, again, when I said my prediction last night that I think we're going to see a pullback between March and May, at the end of March, again, we have that FOMC meeting, and then it's going to be the end of the quarter. That could be that time where we see a dip, just like we saw in December, where a lot of institutions are going to be coming in and starting to buy up positions at that lower price. Again, I don't know the future, but I'm just looking at waiting for when we see these opportunities. And when we start seeing that buying pressure coming in heavily, like it's institutions, there's a good chance it is institutions. Because if you remember in December, we saw all of a sudden massive spikes of all of this volume coming in, and we couldn't figure out why. My guess at the time was it was a lot of institutions coming in because of the investment upgrade. So, come to find out, that is what it was. So, if we see that again, there's a chance that is going to be the exact same scenario. So, that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below what you think about Project Highland and Hardware 4. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support. We will see you in the next one.